No, we're
Oh,
live
now I,
now.
yeah, okay, now I see it. Yeah. So
So like
so
an
if you don't
extra
see
little extra,
so if you don't see the numbers, then we're safe. We can say whatever we want. That's right.
maybe. But you say whatever you want to say every single morning. So
Well,
I
there
don't
is
know.
that. Yeah, I don't. I guess I don't. I don't often feel too constrained.
I think
Yeah.
people are sort of getting. It's like Terry McAuliffe. You get what you get.
um. Sure. I'm in a great mood, so I'm not going to violently reject the comparison between me and Terry McAuliffe.
Are you in a great mood because of? I'm just making sure that we're live on Substack. Are you in a great mood because of Jared Golden, or are you in a great mood because of last night?
Last night, yeah, I could give a fuck about Jared Golden. I mean, to tell you the truth, that's not even like a completely cut and dry good news story because I mean, there's a decent chance we're going to lose that seat now. Um, but I mean, it's just it was the Joe Manchin shit. It was, yeah, we want a Democrat in that seat to vote for leadership, but he voted against us all the time. And so, yeah, are we losing a battle? I don't know. I guess I just can't get past my own emotional pettiness to say "good riddance, motherfucker." But but no, I'm in a great mood because shit, the sexy Patriots came through last night. Uh, we put up big wins everywhere, and like all we've seen today is some of the most embarrassing, pathetic cope you can imagine from the Republican Party. I mean, Mike Johnson looked like he was going to cry this morning, and he always looks like he's going to cry. So this morning it was extra pronounced. Um, Trump is openly admitting the shutdown is killing them. He said it in a private lunch with Senate Republicans today. Do you know how fucking obvious something has to be for it to crack through that motherfucker's veneer of fake reality? Um,
Pretty
this is a
fucking
guy.
obvious.
That's it. I mean, this is a guy who thinks he has the highest approval ratings ever, when in reality, he's the least popular president this country's ever had. So yeah, for even this to get through to him, it's sort of like watching Marjorie Taylor Greene figure out obvious shit. It's like, God, it must be really fucking obvious. Like if this absolute moron is figuring this out, then it must be really obvious.
Yeah, that makes sense. um, there's like a random gnat in here. It's like a warm day. So, anyways, if I end up like Mike Pence,
Is
sorry.
it is it like hot there?
It was cold this morning, and then it got like hot. Like if you're wearing a long sleeve, you're like sweating. And I had the back door open for like an hour for the dogs, and apparently there's something flying around in here. So, anyhow,
Don't get it
whatever.
stuck in your hair like Mike Pence.
I'll let you know if it does.
Yeah, no,
Or, or
I always forget that other people have weather because LA is pretty consistent. Although I will say it's been a little chilly these last few days, and by chilly I mean like 65, 70. But it's enough for us to pretend like we've got sweater weather.
yeah, I mean you're from Kentucky, so like, doesn't that sort of bring you home a little bit?
It does, but I will tell you, it's amazing how quickly your body adjusts to this climate. Now, when I go home to Kentucky, I'm a total wuss. Like if it dips below 50, I won't leave the house. Like I'm shivering. Yeah, I used to be able to handle Kentucky climate, no problem at all. Now I'm really soft.
Now you're just screwed. Now you, yeah. I mean, it's although I feel like every time I've been out there, it's cold. When I came out there for a
Yeah.
wedding last time, I was in Thousand Oaks, and it was colder there than it was here.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the joke, right? Is like we do get all four seasons. We just get them in the same day. Like it's winter when you wake up, and it's fall when you go to bed, and then it's spring and summer in between. But yeah, the difference between being in the sun and being in the shade right now is about the same difference as being on the surface of the sun and being on Pluto.
Speaking of which, any thoughts on Elon Musk in the last 72 hours?
I was wondering how you were going to segue from Pluto to a news item. My thoughts on Elon Musk are the same as always. Fuck Elon Musk. He's a weird fucking loser who is going to invent a sex robot because normal people don't want anything to do with him. Yeah,
And
Elon's
a cat woman is his other interest.
I mean, he's completely crashing out. But so many people on the right are right now. Yeah, Elon, Mr. Nazi salute guy, I guess, is pretending to give a shit about anti-Semitism. You know what I wish Elon did give a shit about? His father raping children. This was a New York Times story, and it is astonishing to me how little attention it has gotten. Elon's own fucking family is pleading with him to step in and do something. And instead of giving a shit, he just keeps tweeting on through it. I don't know. It's appalling. It also makes me wonder. I mean, you remember like when he was at the White House all the time with his little kid, like how it just seemed like something was fucking off there. Like we already know Elon is evil. I'm really worried that we don't know how evil. Um, anyway, yeah. Yes. What do I think of Elon Musk? Fuck Elon Musk. That's what I think of him.
Well, he had that last minute Cuomo endorsement. There were quite a
Yeah.
few sexual assaulters who, or many that were accused that got involved in that race.
Well, did you see he responded to one person? One person was like, "Dude, this is the third sexual assaulter you've endorsed," and he responded to him, and he's like, "Do you have a better idea?" And it's like, yeah, vote for the people that don't sexual assault women. Like, it's like I know it's crazy, but it just might work.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's out of control. So, what were some of your? We could talk. I could pull up the newsletter too. Some of the highlights from last night.
So many, so many. I wanted to start with an admission of a fuck up. I forgot to put Georgia in the newsletter today, and it was one of the biggest wins, or two of the biggest wins we had last night. It's the first time Democrats won statewide races that were state races, not national races like Ossoff and Warnock. But it was the first time we'd won statewide races since 2006. At a time when we're looking at that as a vulnerable Senate seat with Senator Ossoff, that's some really fucking good news. Obviously, here in California, we did the damn thing. It's looked for a few weeks like it was in the bag, but I certainly don't think Texas Republicans or Trump were. They didn't think we had the guts to do this. They thought they could ram through the change in Texas and we just take it. They didn't get the memo that there's a new Democratic Party being formed, and we're not going to take any shit anymore. So if you want to play these games in Texas, we got you in California, and we got you in Virginia, and we got you in Maryland. So go ahead and keep fucking around with us and see how it goes. And then the last, there were so many big races, but I have to say, just on a personal note, I was really happy to see Zoran Mamdani win for a number of reasons, but mostly because of the fear I felt in the closing days of the election. We saw Elon, we saw Trump, we saw Stephen Miller, we saw John fucking Rocker, who crawled out from whatever rock he's been living under, and we saw Cuomo all open up the faucets of Islamophobia and racism and really run just a disgusting, cynical campaign. And I was really fucking worried it was going to work. Because we've seen it work before. And seeing New Yorkers turn out, seeing young New Yorkers, seeing Jewish New Yorkers, seeing Muslim New Yorkers, seeing New Yorkers of all ages, all backgrounds, stand up and say, this is the guy we want, fuck your racism. I needed it. I needed to see it. I think a lot of us did. I think for the past year, we've sort of been walking around in denial. Wondering what the fuck kind of country do we live in that it could elect this miserable scumbag as president. We've been wondering, are we a good people? Are we a good country? Do we have a soul left? There were a lot of results last night that helped reaffirm my belief, not only in who we are as a country, but who we are as a people. And it's hard to really articulate the gratitude I feel for this, because this last year's been rough, and it's had me and I think a lot of folks sort of second guessing things we thought we knew. So it's nice to get a nice big fat injection of hope like we did last night.
Yeah, I agree with that. When you were talking about Georgia, I put up a giant peach, and Tim said, "How do we get a picture of his ass?" Which I appreciate.
Yeah, I guess I'm glad. We should be glad it wasn't the eggplant state, right?
Yeah. I want to pull this up too. You had this in today's TBS. This was Mamdani. Let's see if we can. How are we going to do this? Here we go. great clip of him confronting Homan.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna play that really quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
How many more New Yorkers are not charged? Do you believe in the First Amendment? Do you believe in the First Amendment, Tom Homan? How many more New Yorkers will the judge not target?
Anyways, awesome energy. Obviously, this happened before the election, but
Yeah.
fired me up again. I love some of these old clips.
Yeah. That was when that clip right there was when I signed on with Zoran Mamdani. That was when I decided that's my guy. Strongly worded letters and happy fucking talk about working across the aisle. Those days are over. We're not doing that shit anymore. If you want to do that shit, then you can go join John Fetterman in the soon to be retired club. We're at war with fascists. And if people in our party don't understand that, then they need to get the fuck out of the way. This morning, I saw a woman dragged out of a daycare center by federal troops, masked federal troops. Today, a pastor, was sitting in a courtroom being asked about being shot in the face with gas balls by federal troops. He said it was no warning at all. They just shot him in the face. If you think this kind of stuff can be negotiated with or reasoned with, then you're probably part of a party that's going to be dead soon. If you think this kind of stuff can only be confronted and defeated, then congratulations, you're in the new Democratic Party. But we're done getting sand kicked in our face. We're done looking the other way while our people are roughed up. We're done being Republican light and listening to chicken shit centrists who don't actually know fuck all about winning elections. We're going to stand for something, and we're going to fight for something. And that's how we're going to win elections.
Well, on that note, we had one other Mamdani clip that I wanted to play really quickly.
I feel like I'm really on my high horse today. I'm enjoying it.
You are. Everyone else is enjoying it too. I mean, what a party. I gotta put some blue lights on behind me while we're doing this. All right, I'm gonna pull this up. I think it's like 2 minutes, but it's worth every second. So I'm pulling it up.
So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up. We will hold bad landlords to account because the Donald Trumps of our city have grown far too comfortable taking advantage of their tenants. We will put an end to the culture of corruption that has allowed billionaires like Trump to evade taxation and exploit tax breaks. We will stand alongside unions and expand labor protections because we know, just as Donald Trump does, that when working people have ironclad rights, the bosses who seek to extort them become very small indeed. New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant. So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
I mean, it's so powerful. My dad came here on a cargo ship through a newly reopened Ellis Island with his sister and his mother and father, and just hell of a speech.
Yeah, it's almost like he represents the story of America, right? The promise of America.
Statue of Liberty.
You know, there are a lot of very, very rich people who don't want that to be true. They want the story of America to be tax breaks. They want the story of America to be gross wealth inequality. And Zoran Mamdani is a threat to that. And so they call him a lot of names. They put a lot of shit on him that he doesn't deserve. I tell you, for people who remember how Obama was covered in 2007, 2008, it's really been shockingly similar. Like the way the New York Times has sort of othered him. Um,
I think that was a big story that was missing from this election was not only does Barack Obama still have it, but he was able to go in these states and help deliver these victories.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You know, Obama spent the last weekend on the campaign trail. Trump spent the last weekend at his fucking country club having a grotesque Halloween party. No, I think that's
and as you said,
true.
we're not even sure that Donald Trump knew there were elections taking place.
Or that it was Halloween. Yeah, he may have just thought that was a regular fucking Friday night at Mar-a-Lago. No, you know, the last thing I want to say about Mamdani is this. I think, you know, the messaging is important. It's obviously affordability is important. His natural talent, just his speaking ability, the way he connects with people, his charm, his charisma, that was important. But to me, the biggest takeaway Democratic candidates in other places can embrace from Zohran Mamdani is to not be afraid, to not be apologetic for your belief system, but to stand there and defend it. To stand there and be prepared to defend it. You know, look at Abigail Spanberger in Virginia. You know, the Republican candidate ran an almost completely anti-trans campaign. They believed, you know, much like the national news media did, that that was what sealed it for Trump last November, was just running against trans people, right? It didn't work in Virginia. It's an outright bigoted campaign, and it was always going to have limited appeal. And they pushed it too far. And the thing I love the most is that Spanberger didn't feel compelled to respond by throwing trans people under the bus. Zohran Mamdani never threw trans people under the bus. I won't either. If I have to throw a marginalized person under the bus to win an election, well, then what the fuck am I running for? What am I going to do?
And neither did Andy Bashir.
That's exactly right. Andy Bashir, to me, was the model for this, talking about it in a way that made clear that he stands for everybody. By the way, I saw Andy today going on offense over SNAP funds, and I've got to say, you know, I'm an Andy fan, but I've also been kind of wondering where the fuck he's been. You've had so many 2028ers really stepping up big time these last few months, and I feel like Andy was sort of missing an opportunity there. Similar to Gretchen Whitmer, is just sort of like, hey, you know, this train's leaving the station. Do you want to be on it? I mean, they've got plenty of time, but still, I think people are going to remember who was side by side with them in the trenches early on. And that's always been sort of my question about Andy. Like he's not a gladiator, right? He's someone who governs and governs well. And I don't know, you know, we're in gladiator politics these days. I don't know. I'll be curious to see how he adapts over the next years. He's out there more and more for the midterms.
Yeah, I mean, remains to be seen. It kind of reminds me of when you and I were talking about different elections happening yesterday, and one of them, three of them, were the Supreme Court seats in Pennsylvania. And I was a little surprised that nobody was talking about them the way that we talk about them when they're up in Wisconsin. However, they delivered there. So maybe, you know, Andy is like the quiet, you know, Supreme Court race is happening in Pennsylvania. I don't know, but he's been on the right side of stuff, which right side of history, left side of stuff. And most people forget, I know you know this, but you know, he literally beat like Trump Jr. The day after, you know, Trump went in that first race for Matt Bevin on the eve and campaigned for him in the state. And Andy still pulled it out, which was incredible.
Well, Matt Bevin was a lesson that the rest of the Republican Party should have learned and didn't, which is that the only asshole the electorate is willing to accept is Donald Trump. Like every time somebody tries to do a cheap impression of him, they get their shit handed to them. But Bevin was a uniquely atrocious, repugnant human being. But no, and then Andy won again. He won re-election, and Trump left it all on the field that time too. So yeah, it's funny you mentioned the difference between the Supreme Court case races in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Remember, Wisconsin, it was a special election, so it kind of stands out on its own, like in the middle of the calendar. Whereas there was so much shit going on last night. Like middle of the day today, I was like, fuck, I can't believe I forgot to put Georgia in the newsletter. But it was just, there was a lot going on, especially to be an off-year election.
When you sent that message, I ignored it. Because the editor also missed it. But
Yeah,
you know,
no, I mean,
in
it's-
addition to them being special elections, Wisconsin, the parties are so different, right? So like Wisconsin has Ben Wickler, and for years, he's run more of an online campaign to draw attention to these things while doing the same stuff on the ground that Pennsylvania was. I mean, I had talked to Mike Lux and others, and it sounded like there were great things going on in Pennsylvania. We weren't hearing about it, but at the same time, they felt like they were, you know, in a strong position to win. Whereas Ben has a little bit of a different approach and does both. But it'd be nice to see some of that kind of stuff happen, unless, you know, people in state think that is going to jeopardize those, you know, those races.
Well, that's it, right? You never know. Like sometimes you keep things on the DL for a reason, because like high turnout might hurt you. Yeah, no, I don't know. I felt like
Eric Cantor.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, the thing about something like the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court is it's hard to convince the electorate to think 3 years ahead, right? It's
Right.
hard to convince voters to think, hey, the way you vote now will determine whether or not your vote is counted in a presidential election 3 years from now. Like most people, especially right now, are worried about feeding their fucking families. They're not worried about a presidential election 3 years from now. And so for Pennsylvania voters to have the foresight that they did, God, I'm damn grateful.
JD says PA came through in the clutch. Yeah, I think that's right.
JD said that? You sure it wasn't-
JAYD.
Oh, I was going to say.
Wait,
you
hold
sure-
on. Talking about JD.
Are you sure it wasn't Pennsylvania came through in the couch?
Yeah, both. For those that haven't seen, I might pull up a picture of Sam's Halloween costume while we're on here, because we haven't done this since Halloween. But talking about JD Vance, would you like, for, you know, in case anyone missed, to share the news out of Ohio?
What news out of Ohio?
JD Vance's MAGA brother.
Oh, yeah. God, I enjoyed this so much. Corey Bowman, who is JD Vance's half brother, got the living shit kicked out of him in the Cincinnati mayoral race yesterday. I enjoy that so much. And yeah, as we said in the newsletter today, we don't know what that guy's future plans are, but we sure hope he doesn't have to crash on his brother's couch, because that's a good way to get pregnant.
There was a lot of good news yesterday. We haven't even gotten to California yet, but in addition to that, a judge overruled the White House and wants an interpreter put back in place, which I
Yeah.
consider another election flip.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, that was one of those midday stories that if you hadn't posted, I think it would have slipped through the cracks and I wouldn't have seen it. But also, how terrible a human being do you have to be for a judge to have to tell you, hey, give a shit about deaf people? This just seems like one of those basic things that I thought we as people had moved past a long time ago. Guess not. But yeah, anytime the White House is losing and Americans are winning, I think it's a good thing.
And I didn't look at, haven't always agreed with him, but I think Kyle Cheney's done a good job of covering all this kind of stuff. And obviously that's where we lifted it up from. But I didn't look at the specific ruling to see if it states that they have to be in the room or they actually have to put it on TV. I assume they have to put it on TV, but I didn't see anything on TV today. So I would assume that they're probably already in violation here.
Well, the White House doesn't televise those briefings. You know, the individual news networks and C-SPAN do. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
But theoretically, there's I guess with the interpreter there will be two feeds, right? They're all pulling from the same malt box.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sure they'll appeal. I mean, they're truly evil people. So,
were you surprised to see how quickly Prop 50 was called, given the fact that
I wasn't. No, I wasn't. Republicans threw in the towel weeks ago. Gavin Newsom even sent out a text message saying, we don't need any more money, so stop sending it, which was like the greatest political text message I've ever received. But it really kind of gave away where we were. Republicans had basically just thrown in the towel. So it seemed pretty obvious for the last couple of weeks. I think with a lot of these elections, we felt like we knew what was going to happen. It was just a matter of waiting to see what kind of bullshit Trump was going to kind of pull. And I'll tell you the truth, I think his dumbass forgot there were elections. A lot of the stuff he was tweeting about, he didn't start till yesterday. And it really seemed like it snuck up on him. But he's also, he ain't right in the head. But yeah, no, I felt good
It's
about
easy
California
to
for a
sneak up
while.
on him.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah. But no, I felt good about California for a while. I felt like Newsom, I felt like Obama. I felt like everybody, Alex Padilla. I feel like everybody who made the case here did a really good job of explaining why we were doing what we were doing. But not only that, Californians are fucking furious. You look at LA especially. Look at the year we've had. I mean, we started off by half the fucking city burning down, and instead of getting like,
Was that still in the last? That was in like January, right?
January.
February?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
because
in
we had a
January.
friend who moved out there. I can't even believe it. It seems like everything is either 3 years ago or 6 months ago.
I know. But yeah, I mean, you think about it, we had fires. And instead of getting compassion and aid from the President of the United States, we got idiotic lectures about letting water flow. And then he invades. He sends the Marines here. And even now, we have ICE terrorizing our poor neighbors. And it's just, I don't know, man.
Well, they
People
were
are
also fucking with your water when they first came in during
Well,
the
he
fires.
almost, he almost flooded a bunch of farmland because he doesn't know what he's doing, and because people are around him are desperate to keep him happy. But no, I mean, look, California's been wearing a bullseye, for a long time, but especially under this administration. And so I'm not at all surprised that the people of this state leapt at the first opportunity they had to say "fuck you" to this president.
So, 2 or 3 things. You're making me think of all sorts of stuff here. Okay, first of all, going back to Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Give me your thoughts on her, because at the end of the night, in some of these areas there was a 25-point shift, and we have a close personal friend running against Marjorie, Sean Harris, who I try to retweet every time I can. And a lot of people, think there's no chance in hell that he could ever win, but they don't think back to Lauren Boebert coming down to 400 or 500 votes, or some of these other races. That's a huge shift in a district where that congressional seat outperformed the presidential last cycle more than any congressional district in the country but one in Hawaii. And I get the feeling that like she's dumb, but she's also like not stupid in the sense that, like she was looking at running, maybe there wasn't a path statewide. She's probably still interested in it, but she's been making some changes either because it's finally affecting someone in her family, or she sees the way things are actually changing. And after last night, to me, we should be playing everywhere, because every single vote that we bring out, as Michelle Obama said, in a school board race or in a congressional, is a vote, for instance, statewide for Ossoff.
I mean, I agree to an extent. I mean, I do think you want to be leery of, where you're putting your money, and you don't want to just throw good money after bad. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's the CJ Craig line from The West Wing. You're stupid, but you're not stupid. I still don't know if Marjorie Taylor Greene knows how to read, but I can tell you she knows how to read a poll. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not that she's a wise person. It's just that this shit is so obvious, even she can see it. I mean, let's say you're a Republican thinking about running for office in Virginia in the next few years. Last night, every single county in the state shifted left. Are you still planning on running an anti-trans, pro-Trump campaign? Because that seems like a really smart way to lose an election before it even starts. Marge is what most people in Washington are, which is a self-preservationist. She's worried about herself and her own job, which used to be really common. And then a lot of Republican members had to start worrying about their lives instead, because they never knew if the President of the United States from their own party would send a mob after them. So yeah, it's almost refreshing to see politicians going back to their own selfish interest of wanting to get reelected. Instead of,
and she's made a lot of money. I mean, I don't know if you look at that website Unusual Whales, but for all the attacks against Nancy Pelosi, they had her listed as Marjorie Taylor Greene at 12th in Congress, and Nancy Pelosi at 5. And this is somebody who just started investing in the last 18, 24 months.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, if you are on the inside and corrupt as fuck, then the first few months of the Trump administration have been a godsend. I mean, people have gotten rich as fuck playing with these crypto markets and the various market crashes. I'm not one of them. Damn it.
Same here. I don't have an investment in a single thing. I think I was actually kicked off Robinhood for not knowing how to use the app before Robinhood became a terrible thing, and then before it became a good thing again. Can you talk a little bit going back to the Clintons, right? Everyone used to kind of say 2 for 1. I think it's really interesting, and we haven't really heard much from her until the last couple of weeks publicly, but she's been around and she's been her own authoritative force for years. Can you talk a little bit about Newsom's wife, Jennifer?
Oh, yeah. I don't really know that much about Jen. I mean, I followed her on social media.
Or just your take, kind of seeing her out there and speaking in the last 72 hours.
I mean, I guess I would say what I've always known, which is that if you want to get smarter, marry or date a smart woman. Like, I think if you compare Gavin Newsom now to Gavin Newsom a few years ago, you'd readily acknowledge it's a vast improvement. She had a line last night that I really liked. She was just talking about how she won't allow her kids to grow up thinking this shit is acceptable. And I think about that a lot. You've heard me talk about a million times. The very first campaign appearance I ever covered was Governor Bush in 1999. And he flew into my hometown, and Darrell Waltrip, the NASCAR legend, was introducing him. And he was saying, I'm embarrassed to tell my kids what's happening in the Oval Office. We have to restore dignity to the White House. Of course, they all gave up on that the second a fucking game show host rapist came down a golden escalator. But I think that is touching on something powerful. And I think, Jen is touching into that thing that a lot of moms feel, which is they don't want these assholes to be role models for the youth of America.
Yeah. And I think that she, I think the way that you sort of pointed out who he was a few years ago, I mean, maybe even a little bit longer, he was very immature on the personal side, but he has been so good on the policy side, even dating back to 2002, 2003, being one, we've talked about it before, one of the first people out there in the country with a voice that came out for gay marriage.
It's true, but he's also been really quick to throw trans people under the bus over the last year. I think he was looking for that quick fix that a lot of DC centrist pundits were offering. And I'm hoping after last night, he sees the error of that. I'm hoping he realizes that Democrats need to be a big tent, and that means inviting more people in. It means looking out for the people that are already here. And it means not selling out the people that are counting on you, especially the people who are the most vulnerable. I like a lot of what Gavin Newsom does, and I'm damn glad that he fought back against what we saw in Texas, and I'm damn grateful to the people of California for making that happen. But one of my big takeaways from last night is that we do not have to fuck over the most vulnerable among us to win elections. We can be who we are. We can stand up for what's right. We can stand up for people who are getting bullied, and that's what being a Democrat is about.
Yeah, and it's been interesting to watch Newsom over the last 2 weeks sort of bring up some of those interviews that we found outraged, just ridiculous in terms of saying, look, I'm willing to have a conversation with anybody. I've had X, Y, and Z on my show, and we're like, yeah, you shouldn't have had those fucking people on your show. But that's where we are. I'm going to pull this up really quickly. I can't tell when you're on your phone, if you can see this. I've been putting up a couple different things, but I don't know if this was an AP headline. I think it's an AP story, and our local paper here in McLean, Virginia, Fairfax Now, changed the headline. But McLean resident who helped engineer invasion of Iraq dies at 84. No mention of Dick Cheney, an angry photo of him. I mentioned that because that did happen this week, and we did talk about it. And TBS just wanted to kind of get your thoughts. But I thought this was a really fair headline where a lot of folks that we've talked about before, again, love them, sometimes not so much, but I think that Lincoln Project and Bulwark have been taking a lot of shit for their statements, and I think there's a lot of people that wish that and I understand, again, politics as usual shouldn't exist anymore. I can see why Kamala put out a statement as vice president, but I think there were a lot of people that wish that she had not put out the statement that she did.
Yeah, Dick Cheney is a fucking war criminal. And there are a lot of dead people because of that asshole. He's corrupt as fuck. Without him, there is no Trump. Cheney was one of the ways we learned that very rich white people don't go to jail. They can shoot somebody in the face, and the person they shot will be the one who ends up apologizing. I love that headline, by the way.
Literally and figuratively.
Journalists finding a local angle is like one of my favorite things in the world. Look, man, I get why.
Also, you tell me, by the way, I'm pretty sure, if you have an agreement for a feed with AP stories, you don't get to change the headline, but I love that they did.
You do actually, yeah. You
Oh,
can,
okay.
to make it fit. Um, yeah, man. Look, I get why these Democrats and their advisors think, oh, we need to take the high road and put out a statement that says nice, blah 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 blah. I think it's fucking dumb. I think people are sick of it. I think, again, one of the things I took from last night is that authenticity is what's winning elections. If you find yourself putting out a tortured Chat GPT statement about what a great American Dick Cheney was, maybe check your party registration. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know who that's for. I prefer the honesty of talking about somebody when they're dead the same way you talked about them while they were alive. Uh, if you I've talked about this before, but go back and read Hunter Thompson's obituary of Nixon. It's fucking great. It's not like he didn't just pretend that Nixon became a different person because he died. He points out he's a fucking scumbag. He's always been a scumbag.
Well,
I'll say the same thing about Dick Cheney. Fuck Dick Cheney.
Yeah, I think I may have texted you. I don't think I posted it, but I said last night that, I think Dick Cheney last night after the elections was looking up at us very proud.
That's nicely done. I did think that this country did a fantastic job of celebrating Dick Cheney just died day. I think that, electing a Muslim as the first Muslim mayor of New York City is exactly what he
And the
would have
first
wanted.
Muslim statewide in Virginia, in Ghazala Hashmi.
Oh yeah. He started rolling over in his grave the second they put him in it, and I couldn't be happier for him. Yeah, I see Stella here says she wants to get people to watch the movie Vice. Yeah, I agree. It's really good. I tell you the truth, I always thought maybe it was a little too sympathetic to old Dick. But yeah, I think it's a cool movie.
Talking of shows really quickly, I'm going to get it wrong, so I'm going to say it out loud, but I was going to ask you, I started watching House of Dynamite in the last 24 hours. Have you seen that on
shit.
Netflix?
You're a braver man than I am. That if Trump wasn't in office, I could watch it, but I can't watch.
Well,
that
that's what's
shit with
freaking
him.
me out.
Yeah.
I'm only episode 2, so nobody ruin anything in the comments for anybody else either. But it is. I can already tell it's going to be like top 4 or 5 shows I've ever watched. But it's freaking me the fuck out.
Everybody's saying it's Catherine Bigelow, right?
Yep. And it's got a bunch of others in it.
I mean, she's directing it though, right?
I believe so. I didn't make it that far. Netflix was like, we think this is what you want to watch.
Garrett Graff wrote a review about it, and I was just like, "There's no way I can watch this shit."
Oh, I gotta check that out. Garrett's awesome. Somebody who you've known for a long time.
I'm losing you for some reason.
This is where we say to everybody in the comments, "Can you hear us?"
Are you grabbing the comments, by the way? I do love that so much.
Yeah, I got them all.
Which, by the way, I'm so touched how many of y'all responded last week when I mentioned that I'm single. It was definitely a boost for the old self-esteem. So thank you for that.
Everybody can hear both of us.
I appreciate it.
But we might not be able to hear each other perfectly. But that's okay, because Sam always talks.
You still with me?
I'm with you. I think it's a you issue. We're good. Keep going.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't really have anything else. Oh, Kentucky basketball won their first game of the season yesterday. So I had a very great blue day. And I surfed all morning. It was like the best fucking Tuesday anybody's ever had.
And
since I can't see Adam, let me say this. I'll just go ahead and do a happy ending. So for today's happy ending in the newsletter, we talked about how Jimmy Kimmel opened up a food pantry on the back lot of his Hollywood studio. One of my neighbors down the street did the same thing in his front yard. Just put out a old bookshelf with food on it. Said, take what you can, take what you need, give what you can. And I love that so much. The thing about Trump being the worst of America is he's very good at revealing those of us who are the best of America. He's very good at pushing us to a place where we remember that we have to look out for each other. He's very good at pushing us to a place where we remember what real goodness, what real patriotism looks like. It's funny watching Americans in the streets for the No Kings protest, watching Americans show up last night. That shit makes me fall in love with America all over again, at a time when it's not easy to do. So thanks to my neighbor, to Jimmy Kimmel, to every last sexy ass one of y'all who keeps restoring my faith in this country and my hope in humanity. There's so many days when you see the East Wing in rubble, and you start to wonder, is it all gone? Is it all already over and I'm just being naive? It's not. It's not over. Not by a damn sight. And it's not over until we fucking say it is. And so, yeah, there are a lot of people who helped me remember that this week, and I'm really grateful to every one of
Can you hear me now?
them. Yeah, I can.
I think I might have. I need to. I just said in the comments, I need to send you the Eero mesh network, because I think it was you. I'm not trying to blame you, but talking about Kentucky, I wanted to see really quickly. I don't know if I can do it from here, but you had this great video that you posted, and if we can get it up, I feel like we got to play that at the end here. It's like, it's pretty awesome.
Mm.
If it'll, yeah. We got it. We got it. Okay, hold on. I just got to figure out. 2 seconds. It's so worth it. I'm like hyping this up, and everyone's gonna be like, "That's it? You couldn't even get the audio to work." But I thought it was pretty good because I think Sam has maybe posted like a reel like once.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to Instagram.
But he figured it out, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I made like a meme, which I didn't even know you could do that.
So someone did a little. Yeah, so let's see. I'm just trying to figure out where the hell. Oh, here we go. We can do audio too. We may have to play it twice. All right, here we go.
My goodness! Oh!
All right, get ready for it. Get ready for it. We're gonna restart
On
it.
his head!
This is the reaction.
Chandler. Oh! My goodness! Oh! My goodness! On his head!
Anyways, I think.
Yeah. Last time I
like-
saw a Mormon like that, somebody had just asked Mitt Romney to borrow $1. I know it's a bad joke.
With the
Yeah,
dog
no,
on
the
the
thing I
roof
love
wall.
about that was it's the blue team dunking on the red team, and then all the people that are celebrating are all wearing blue.
Thank you, Stella.
Was that Romney joke? Was that good? Was it like anti-Mormon? I don't want to be anti-Mormon.
We'll find out in the comments, which I am saving. However, Sam has never issued an apology in his life, and
That's not true. I apologize all the
he
time.
promises to offend at least 2% of our list every news. No, I'm just kidding.
It does seem like that.
You know Mitt Romney better than anyone else. So
I was trying to think of like Mitt Romney. Last time I saw a Mormon like that, a Mormon jump like that, somebody was trying to buy Mitt Romney a drink. How about that? Is that better?
that's good. I do watch.
There was a story his aides used to tell about how he was like, he was just so out of touch with like normal people shit. He didn't know anything about alcohol, and so he would like try to guess what his staff were drinking.
I've got your banner up.
No, this part's true.
I know.
But yeah, his staff would tell me like he liked to play a game where he would try to guess what they were drinking. And so they'd be sitting there with like a scotch on the rocks, and he'd be like, "Is that a Mai Tai?" And they would just laugh at how like hilariously wrong he was. Like, no, that's not a margarita. It's a, vodka rocks. But yeah, that's Mittens.
I'm just going to bring this up one more time because I feel like this is kind of where it all started to go wrong just before we end here. Well, I'll just do this. I'll just share the screen.
All started to go wrong. That could be referring to lots of things.
Yeah, including anything today. But I'm just going to pull this up. Like, it's not even going to be clean, but here we go. I don't know if you can see this stuff or not. But anyways, just the picture of him and Trump having dinner. It's like, I'll just never get that out of my mind.
No, well, I was with Mitt when he went to Vegas to get Trump's endorsement in 2012. It's the only time I've ever met Trump. Thank God. And it was just such a sad and pathetic move. I mean, I remember even at the time how embarrassed he and his people were to be doing it. But it also speaks to the embarrassment that is the Republican Party. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we'd be walking into a high school gymnasium and they'd be chanting Mitt, 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 Mitt. And then like 3 years later, these same people would have happily kicked him into a gutter. they don't really stand for anything. They just kind of follow the crowd. One of Romney's big applause lines was, Barack Obama hasn't passed any trade deals, which was a lie. He actually passed 3. And then Trump comes on and, the crowd would, oh, boo, how come he's not passing trade deals? And then Trump comes on like, these trade deals fucking suck. And they're like, oh, yeah, boo, fuck the trade deals. And I don't know, just one of those things where I was like, are these the same people from like a couple years ago? Because they don't seem to have any core beliefs at all.
No, they don't. Which is why I tried to re-up that old Titanic line that you used a long time ago in terms of if it's like the party and these folks are like the Titanic becoming a cruise line, designed for whatever, sinking, crashing, but engineered for all of this terrible shit. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thanks for the good night's sleep I got last night. Thanks for the smile on my face this morning. And thanks for the big fat ass glass of hope I've been drinking ever since last night. That doesn't happen without y'all. This doesn't happen on its own. It happens because people like us make phone calls, give money, and vote. And we did our jobs really well this week. And I'm proud of every last damn one of y'all.
And I'll end with this comment from Tim. Somebody was asking about you. This is
I like
fun.
that. Journalist, surfer, and OG sexy patriot. Damn.
I think
That's pretty
that
good.
should be your new little bio.
Yeah, it's not bad. I know Tim makes me sound way cooler than I am.
Also, is there no, you're pretty cool. Is there another No Kings? Is there a date yet?
I'm losing you again.
Okay. Well, then we'll wrap up.
Okay.
Say goodbye.
Thanks everybody, and thanks for a great week. Let's keep this shit going. Let's keep working the phones. Let's keep fighting the good fight, and more importantly, let's keep our heads up because this shit ain't over yet. And we showed that last night. Thanks everybody. Love y'all.
Thank you guys.